So Brickgate has been in the cycle for a while now. Brickgate has been discussed several times, and I want to understand the reasons why. Why is Brickgate so popular right now? Why is everybody talking about Brickgate? Why is that on every major page that I've seen in terms of the black sphere and the black space? Well, it's being used to go at black men in particular. That's why you're seeing it. You're seeing it for no other reason than it's being used as a tool and a ploy to go at black men. So I need for you to understand that when it comes to black men in particular, the idea of Brickgate, it was directed at black men. It wasn't directed at any other community. It was directed at black men. Do you understand that? Brickgate is a non-issue. It's a controversy. A controversy. Everyone knows it. Everyone can kind of sense it. But you get one black person from one lineage who does something to a woman, all of a sudden it's an all black people problem. Well, let me ask you a question. Why is it that Irish people aren't asked to apologize for Vladimir Putin? Why aren't Irish people asked to apologize for Vladimir Putin? If we're just about accountability. Why aren't Hispanic people being asked to apologize for the cartels? When the cartels go and kidnap somebody, should I go over to George Lopez and ask him, hey, what's the deal? So if a Yakuza does something to somebody, should I go to some random Japanese person and ask them, hey, what's up with that? Why is it that Brickgate is even an issue? Let me tell you why it's an issue. I'm going to say it for you again. It's because it's an issue where you can go at black men. That's why. That's the only reason why. Because once again, notice how nobody in Germany or in the United States or people in Ireland are being asked to apologize for Putin. Notice that? Notice how whenever a black person mentions reparations, you'll get a white person says, well, hey, I'm Irish, or hey, I'm Native American, right? So if the white person says that, they're saying that to delineate and separate themselves from other white people, right? So why is it now I can't say, hey, that wasn't my lineage. I wasn't even involved. That had nothing to even do with me. Why is it that the black community here, foundational black Americans, black descendants of American slaves, the native black Americans, why are we always asked to take everybody else's trash? Why is that? Why is it that we engage in this flat blackness? You know, I just left an African diaspora Discord. And I left the Discord. And the reason why is because the owner started saying things like, well, based on this situation and how some black people reacted, I think black men are a threat to black women. I say, wait a minute. Danny Masterson was just convicted, was just sentenced to 30 years in prison. 30 years in prison because he essayed two women. Man's a serial predator, and you're talking about black men are a threat? Have you looked at the actual stats when it comes to SA and freaking CP? It is overwhelmingly white. He was given 30 years in prison, and he has to serve 25 and a half years before he's eligible for parole. I just reported on that. So, you know, you got the Catholic Church, you got the Southern Baptist Church, the Boy Scouts, white female teachers, school resource officers who are mostly white, who are targeting women and children. Now, all of a sudden, when you get one black guy who does one thing, all of a sudden we are having discussions about black men. Wait a minute, excuse me. Where are all the live streams about Danny Masterson? Go on TikTok. Are you seeing any freaking live streams about Danny Masterson when he was just sentenced to 30 years in prison? Why is that? Right? Why is that not being discussed amongst the wider white community? So if you get two black people who are from two different parts of the African diaspora who get into a physical conflict, what in the hell does that got to do with Jamaicans, black Americans? I mean, Brazilians, black Mexicans? We have nothing to do with that. But it's being discussed in terms of an every black person problem, and it's not an every black person problem. But it's being discussed as if it is. These people came here as immigrants. We don't know them. That ain't our man. We have no say so over the freaking Somalian community or even Haitian community for that matter. So why is it that this issue has been levied against black men? Let me tell you why. It's been levied against black men in particular only because Black men are held to a standard that nobody else has reached. Black men are held to a standard that nobody else reaches. What happened 2 weeks ago? Two and a half weeks ago. You had the Alabama slammer, the Alabama demonstration. What happened in Alabama? You had black unity, right? You had black unity. All of a sudden, you get some chick who gets hit in the head with a brick, and now what? Who benefits? Answer the question. Don't accuse me of anything. Answer the question. Who benefits? We certainly don't. Did you know that in Cuba, our government was going to unalive our own Marines to start a war? The Black Panther Party, we infiltrated them and planted ops who did things intentionally illegal that they knew could have gotten them unalived. And the whole Black Panther Party. In fact, incriminating people is kind of a hallmark of COINTELPRO. It's kind of the point, right? Look at the timing. Think about it. We drone strike Somalia. We drone strike African countries constantly. Women and children all the time. And we call it an accident. How many times does that end up featured on TikTok on every freaking live stream? The only other live stream that I was seeing besides Brickgate was the NPC girls. Gang, Glizzy, that kind of stuff, yeah. 2 weeks ago, what was on every live stream? The Alabama slammer. If you're the federal government, if you're COINTELPRO, if you are U.S. intelligence, if you are U.S. law enforcement, that's a little bit too much black empowerment. You got to disrupt that. They have disrupted movements and memes and statements that are far less powerful. You had the Alabama chair was a commercial success. People were selling shirts. Chair sales were through the roof. What happened? This happened. Just last week, we were discussing 3 black people unalived by a white supremacist named Ryan Palmater. Ryan Palmater. What happened just a week later? The police haven't even released the manifesto of this man yet, and we're discussing the problems with black men. I'm going to say that to you. I'm going to say that for you one more time. The police haven't even released the manifesto of Ryan Palmater, but we are discussing the toxicity of black men. You can't discuss the freaking toxicity of black men when Danny Masterson just was sentenced to 30 years in prison because he's a serial predator. You can't discuss the toxicity, the freaking toxic nature of black men when you got 6 white police officers who pled guilty to essaying 2 black men, poured chocolate syrup on them, shot one of them in the mouth. The bullet exited his freaking throat. Nobody believed him until all the evidence came out. But you're going to mention the freaking toxic nature of black men with all the Catholic priests, Boy Scout leaders, school teachers, school resource officers. Really? Really? Do you want to look up the actual stats on predators? Because I used to work corrections. Don't go there. I'll make you really, really upset. Because it ain't just white people leading by a little. It's by a mile. But notice how whenever that happens with the Catholic Church, we don't have larger conversations. Go on TikTok right now. Can you show me any live streams, any major live streams about Danny Masterson? The news just came out. I mean, as soon as the Brickgate thing happened, you had live streams on live streams on live streams, right? So where are all the ones about Danny Masterson? And most of the live streams talking about Brickgate ain't even about black people. A bunch of white people. So where are those same white people talking about Danny Masterson? That's a weird coinky-dink, ain't it? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get this straight. Jay-Z and Rock Nation helped to put Roger Golubsky behind bars, a white police officer who was essaying black women. Serial predator. And those black women were telling the authorities for years and years and years, and nobody believed them until Jay-Z and Roc Nation heard about it. They went to the FBI with witnesses and actual physical evidence. And that's when all of a sudden Roger Gillespie is behind bars, and he will never see the light of day ever again. I had to personally interfere a case with a police officer named Christopher Groff. He had CP. I wanted to make sure he went to prison, so I put pressure on the prosecutors. I mean, everybody. He got 36 years. I took a personal interest in that case. A personal interest. I don't know what it was that made me dislike that man that much, but I did. And he's white. But I don't see live streams about Christopher Groff, right? I don't see live streams about Danny Masterson. I don't see live streams about the Catholic Church, even though we know most Catholic priests have not faced any justice whatsoever. A lot of live streams about Deshaun Watson, but none about Eli Manning or Peyton Manning or Brett Favre with some of the accusations that they have. How we still don't have the Epstein list, but we're talking about the freaking toxicity of black men. Jeffrey Epstein, his roommate, was a convicted police officer who unalived people. This dude was a bodybuilder. If you saw this man, he's an Avengers level threat. That's how big he is. They made him his roommate, a man who unalived 4 people, and put him underneath his house. Who do you think pulled it off? Who do you think did it? So you have one white degenerate who's being sailed with another white degenerate who had a list of mostly white degenerates that we still ain't got right now, but you're telling me about the freaking toxic nature of black men. Y'all got some nerve. I mean, the standards that the black community are held to in the first place is just disgusting. I will say it again. The standards that the black community is held to is disgusting in the first place.